everyone, and thank you once again for joining me. Today I'm doing a tutorial that is very highly requested. Today is all about brows. But actually first I have a story to share with you guys, and I hope you won't be mad at me, but a lot of you have been asking me to do a video showing you how I lighten my eyebrows, and that's exactly what I did last week. I tried to shoot this video and I lightened my eyebrows on camera for you. Unfortunately, the video just did not turn out well, so I kind of can't lighten my eyebrows again. I'm really sorry. But I'm going to show you step by step everything I do to lighten my brows, but I'm just not going to actually lighten them because then they'll get too light. So I really hope you understand, and I'm really sorry. But there's still lots to talk about regarding eyebrows. Now, my brows, let's talk a little bit of history. So these are my brows. This is a little mini Tenny. I don't even actually know how old I was here, but this is me before I touched my eyebrows. Obviously, I'm a kid, I didn't do anything to my brows, and these are my natural brows. You can see they're pretty full, and they've got a nice soft arch, and they're long. Over the years in high school and in college, I just thought it'd be a great idea to just hack it all off and just tweeze my eyebrows really thin and really short, and clearly not such a great idea. I guess now I'm just kind of trying to get back to that natural state, and it's been like 3 years trying to grow them out, and a lot of you ask me how I grow out my brows, and my dears, I have to tell you the #1 thing is patience. It takes so long for brows to grow back, especially like you'll have this one spot that takes forever to grow back for whatever reason, but just patience. And for a while I was using cold pressed castor oil, which does help. I know that for a fact. It actually is supposed to make your brows and your lashes fuller and thicker and stronger. So I just kind of didn't get into the routine of using it all the time, but I can tell you it worked and it is safe. So my brows in particular, I like them, again, long, so they come pretty close to the center of the bridge of my nose, and they go pretty far out to the outer corner of my eye. Not everyone's brows are going to be like that. These are just my brows. So the places that I've been trying to grow these last few years are up here toward the front and the top of my brows. And the reason why I'm lacking hair there is, I guess, as an adolescent, I tried to create a steeper angle with my arch, which of course wasn't natural for me, but I figured, you know, tweezing up here would make it dip down more. Another thing I did was I tweezed too much in here, like kind of carved it out. And another thing that I did, unfortunately, was when I was excessively tweezing, I sort of made it so that my arch went further out, when naturally my arch is closer to the center. Having grown this part out, it sort of softened my arch and brought it a little bit closer to center. And of course, keeping the tail relatively full as well just gives me that nice soft shape as opposed to a really sharp angular arch, which again, some people really like and it fits their face. It's just not good for me just because I already have pretty strong features, so I don't need my brows to be like. So anyway, that's just kind of a breakdown of my brows. Soft, full, a very conservative arch, and yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, so before I get into the actual eyebrow tutorial, I do want to go over how I lighten my brows. So the ones that I have in my possession now, I've had plenty, are these guys. This is the Andrea brand. I'm not quite sure how to say it. But before, I've used the Sally Hansen brand. I've used this brand, I think called Jolene, something like that. These are all brands that you can find at pretty much any drugstore. What you want to look for is a facial bleaching kit. That's really what this is. I actually used to bleach my mustache with this stuff too. Now I just wax it off. But I digress. So this is definitely appropriate for lightening your brows at home, but of course you are working with a bleach product, so this being so close to your eye, you definitely want to exercise as much caution as possible. So in pretty much any given package, you're gonna get 2 tubes. One is always gonna be bigger than the other because you're using two parts of this and 1 part of this. A lot of the packages come with like this little tray and like a mixing spatula thing. I just kind of throw it out. It's just more stuff that I have to keep around. So I just keep the 2 tubes, and I'll use something like my Beauty Blender Surface Pro. I'll use this and honestly just like a Q-tip or cotton swab to mix it up. I'll show you how I mix them up. So, surface. I'm gonna put just like a little caterpillar on my surface, and then taking the smaller tube, this is the activator, I'm gonna put, again, half as much. So I just kind of measure it by applying it at the same spot, but just putting half as much. So there you can see, or hopefully you can see, I put and it's sliding down. Okay, maybe I should hold it like this. So I put 1 part of the activator and 2 parts of the actual bleach, and I'm just gonna take my cotton swab and just start mixing it up. And this is gonna create a product that obviously is going to lighten. You can't just apply one or the other and lighten your brows or anything really. You do need both. So once I've got this done, kind of just mush it up just so it's all mixed up. I'll either go right in with the cotton swab, or what I actually prefer to do is I have designated a specific tool. I guess I have so many of these different types, the brow brushes, but this one is one that I use specifically for bleaching my brows. So what I'll do is I'll take that stiff end and I'll grab a bunch of the, well actually not a bunch because you don't want to risk it falling onto your lashes or into your eye, so take a little bit at a time, and I'll grab it and I'll just start working it into my brows. And the reason I like using a brush to apply is because I really get to brush it through the hairs so that all of the hairs actually get the product on them. It's not just sitting on the surface. So I'll go in and kind of just brush the product through all the way to the end, and then take a little bit more and then just put it on the surface. You want to make sure you're not extending the product past your brows, especially if you tend to use sunless tanning products on your face. It will take all of it off because it's going to bleach it away. So just kind of cover the hairs and just stop there. Don't let it get all the way around into your brow bone and into your forehead. Just be really conservative about how much you're actually using. And as far as how much time you're gonna leave it on, I typically leave it on for about 2.5 minutes. Again, I have black brows naturally, and I bring them to this color. I have nothing on my brows right now. You could tell it's just maybe like 1, maybe not even 1.5 notches lighter than my natural color, because again, I don't want them to be that much lighter. With my dark hair, I want them to be maybe at most 2 shades lighter than my hair color, because to have dark hair and then dark brows for me is a bit much. It's just too harsh. If you've never done this before, if this is your first time, what I would do is, God, I'm thinking back to like the times like in high school where I would experiment, and I had so many horror stories associated with my brows. Like I one time made them completely orange. I left it on too long, I guess, or I did something wrong and I had these like fiery orange eyebrows. I had to fill them in for quite some time. You want to definitely keep an eye on the bleach and take the brush again, kind of brush it away, brush the product away and see how it's doing, and then the excess product, if it's not quite there yet, just kind of put it back on. I definitely wouldn't leave it on for longer than like 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes, just because that's gonna make more of a drastic change. Oh yeah, obviously, taking it off, I should tell you how to do that. Very simple. Just kind of, what I do is I hold my face down over the sink. I'll never wash it off like this, just because if the water drips down on your face with the bleach, it's gonna get into your eyes. So kind of just like hold your face down over the sink like that. That was an awesome angle. And just start like, you know, rinsing it off carefully until you've got all of it off, and then just pat dry and you're done. You guys, it's a really easy process, I promise you. All right, now on to the grooming process. Now, a lot of you ask me if I wax or thread or tweeze. Okay, so if I have time, my schedule is pretty packed, but if I have time to drive all the way to Beverly Hills, I will go to Kelly Baker Brows. She's awesome. I love the way she does brows, and I'll have her wax them and shape them for me. So when I don't have time and I have to do it at home, I wax them myself. It's Again, I've been through plenty of experiments through my life that I've made plenty of mistakes. So at this point, I do pretty okay by myself. But of course, on top of waxing, you're gonna still need to tweeze a little bit just to kind of get all the little details, all the little spots that didn't get waxed. So I just use my Kelly Baker Brows tweezers, and I also use this pair of scissors. This is from Sigma. This is from their brow kit. I love this little guy because it helps me maintain my brows in between wax sessions, just because my brows are probably different from a lot of yours, because if you look at, I don't know, I'm trying to think. If you look at someone like Desi Perkins, for example, like her brows grow pretty flat against her skin, and they grow in like a pretty uniform direction. Mine are like stacked. They're like thick, just like my hair. They're really thick. I've got those Middle Eastern brows, so you know it's definitely tougher to maintain, I guess. So in between wax sessions, what I like to do is take a spoolie. Actually, I should zoom in and show you guys this. So again, I'll take that spoolie and just start, and again, I did this fairly recently in the other video to show you guys, but what I'll do is I'll just kind of brush the hairs up, and whatever is excess or like sticks out above the brows, I'll just go in and give them a snip. Just because that'll keep them groomed longer between wax sessions. So again, a small pair of scissors, usually they're specifically for brows, is something I keep around all the time because it really helps me to maintain my brows. Alright, now on to the fun stuff, filling in my brows. Now I've got two ways to show you how to do this. One is for those of you who need to do a lot of filling in, have a lot of sparse spots, which I did at one point, but thankfully my brows are getting to a place now where I'm not having to fill them in anymore. And the second way is for people like me now who just kind of have a few sparse spots and just need a little bit of polishing as opposed to full-on filling in. So let's start with the actual filling in first. So the best product in my opinion for brows is the Lorac Pro Brow, and the color that I use is dark brown. I just love that it has a really small pointed end and it has a spoolie on the other end, of course. So I think we all kind of have this. You have one brow that you love and then the other that just will never cooperate. It'll never look like the other brow. So this is the brow that I love. I love how it looks, and it always just grows in perfectly. And this is the Rebel Brow. It just kind of like insists on being a totally different shape. So I have to do some detailed filling in on this one and not so much on this one. Now the way I like to fill in brows is, instead of creating these long strokes that kind of make it look really almost like stenciled in, I like to just create small hash marks that mimic the brow hairs. So it's almost like I'm drawing in little brow hairs just to make it look as natural as possible. So again, first thing I'm going to do is just brush up the brow hairs in the front and then brush them down toward the end and just kind of create that, you know, base shape that I want. And then going in with the pencil, I'm just going to start creating those small hash marks I was telling you about. Just small little lines, because again, I'm trying to make them look like brow hairs. And then if you get too far outside your brow area, all you have to do is just go back in with a spoolie, just kind of erase it away. So look at the direction the hairs are growing in any given spot and just follow that direction. So here they're starting to grow in this way. So again, I'm going to start trying to mimic that. And then getting into the ends of my brows, again, same thing. Just small hash marks. And I'm drawing them in the direction of the hair growth. And then once I get to the tail of the brow, Sometimes I go a little crazy with this. I just kind of shape it up with the spoolie so that it's facing the appropriate direction and it doesn't look like it's too harsh. And then just kind of looking at it, making sure there are no sparse looking spots, just going back in and filling. So now that I'm done filling in, again, I'm gonna just examine it and see if it's too harsh, if I need more, if I need to take away. So I'm looking at it now and it looks a little strong, so I'm just gonna go in with the spoolie, and just by brushing it through a few times, it's kind of going to soften it up just again by the action of brushing it through. So there, that's pretty much exactly where I want the brow to be. Now let's move on to the misbehaving brow and see if we can match them up. They always say the brows are gonna be sisters and not twins. I don't care much for that theory. I like them to look exactly the same if I can get them to look the same. So again, very softly and lightly creating those hash marks. And this brow in particular dips down too low. It doesn't have enough hair up here as much as this one does, so I have to do a little bit of extra filling just at the top, more than the other brow. But again, I don't want it to be too strong, so every now and then I'm just going to go back in and brush it out. And then again, getting to the ends, just gonna brush it through and start applying little lines in the same direction as the hair growth. This is pretty close to twin status, or as close as we're gonna get, I guess. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take off my brows and show you how I fill in my brows just with the brow gel. This is what I do now. I don't actually go in with a pencil anymore and fill in just because I don't need to. This stuff does a trick just because the wand, because it has a color on it, it's tinted, it sort of like touches the skin, and I'll show you how to do it. It saves me so much time when I'm doing my makeup because brows take a minute. So give me a second while I take this stuff off, and I'm gonna show you how I fill in my brows just with the brow gel. Alright, so the brows are off, and I'm just gonna quickly brush these through real quick because they got pretty jacked while I was taking them off. I'm gonna go through with, again, the same brow gel that I just showed you. And again, I'm gonna tint my brows, obviously, but you can see I'm starting to fill them in. I'm just pressing the wand a little bit harder on my brow or on my skin so that it deposits the color. So do you see how it just kind of added a little bit of, it just basically filled in my brow? And then if I need more, I'll just go in with the tip of it and just add. And then go back into the tube once more. And then go into the tail and do the same thing. Just deposit that nice soft color. That's pretty much it, guys. So you can see I got pretty much the same result, but I really only use this. I'm a huge fan of just cutting steps. I'm kind of a no fuss kind of person. If I can get something done in less time, I am a fan. So now going into the other side, same thing. But again, I'm dealing with a rebellious eyebrow, so I have to do a little bit more work on this side. Again, using that tip, I can actually deposit more color. And then go right into the tail. This is my favorite part because it's so quick. So you can see the result with this isn't maybe quite as precise as when you apply the pencil and then the brow gel, but again, this is kind of the lazy girl's guide to eyebrows if you just don't have too much time in the morning to get ready. And one thing with this brow gel, guys, is especially when I actually use it to fill it in, it stays on all day long. I will have it on from morning till like after 6 p.m. and it's still on. It does not move. So that's another reason why I'm a big fan of this brow gel. So that is it for my brow tutorial. It was a little bit of everything to do with brows, but I hope it was useful for you guys. Again, this is just my way of doing my brows. It maybe isn't necessarily your way or the way you have typically seen it, but to each her own. I just hope you maybe took something away from my method. So if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and feel free to leave me any suggestions for other videos you want to see. I'll see you guys soon!